G'day, Stu here from UAVfutures, and today, well, we're going to be checking out this little bad boy right here. Now what this is the DYS ELF. It's a tiny little micro brushless FPV quadcopter, and the reason this one's exciting is because either you can get it as like a ready to fly or a bind and fly, and you know, it comes with its own radio and everything like that, which is cool, or for you guys who use the Tyrannus or the FreeSky system, this thing could just bind straight up to your Tyrannus radio. You don't have to do any mumbo jumbo and you are ready to rock and roll. So I'm a big fan of that. What we're going to do, we're going to stick it on the bench, sort of break it very quickly down, have a look at it. It's got like things like OSD, F3 flight controllers, definitely like D-Shot ESC, some really good stuff going on in here. And then most importantly, we're going to take it out to the field or fly it around. I think Grumpy Trev's got one as well. I'll give Grumpy Trev a race and sort of see how they go. Anyway, enough rambling from me. Let's stick it on the bench and get started. Alrighty, so here it is. Here's the ELF on the bench and everything you get in, I guess, the ready to fly kit. So you can also, I'll link these down below anyway. There's like a ton of different colors, and you can also get, I guess, just the bind and fly versions, which I think a lot of people are going to do because, like I mentioned, it does bind up to your Tyrannus. Anyway, let's jump in and have a look. So the boring things out of the way, you do get a little charger, which is nice because you're going to get a little 2S, 600 milliamp hour battery. The one thing I don't like straight off the bat, I don't like this little connector right here, so that part's going to be a little bit annoying. I wish it was like just a little XT30 or some other connector, because that's going to be a pain when I want to use my other batteries with it, but look, that's not going to be too hard to fix, so we'll put that to the side. You get some spare props, and then you've got these two bad boys right here. So very quickly, we're going to get the remote out of the way, or the radio out of the way, because this just simply takes some AA batteries. I've got mine in mode 2, a couple of different switches, because this thing does rock Betaflight, like it's an F3 flight controller, so it's set up just like Betaflight. So in here you can do everything that you need to, but I thought, why not? Why am I going to fly with this when I can fly around with something like this, or a radio that I'm much more comfortable with, and this thing's going to feel 100 times better anyway. So let's jump over and have a little look at the ELF. Now the first thing I'll do, I'm going to stick this on the scales. Let's weigh it. Take your guesses. How much is this going to be? I'm going to guess 95 grams. Alrighty, that's tared to 0. Stick them on. It's coming in at 57 grams. So look, that's a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be. And I guess that's going to mean it has plenty of power, because it is only a 2S, so it's not going to be as fast as some of its 3S bigger brothers. I don't think it's going to be as fast as something like the Lizard 95 or anything like that. But let's have a look at the actual components we've got. So again, we've got some little crazy 5-blade props on the outside. They're a little bit ducted, so that should provide some good efficiency, because I know bullnose doesn't usually provide the best efficiency, but like this it should be okay. Underneath, if we have a look at our motors, we've got some 1102 10,000 kV motors, and I think that's going to mean this thing is an absolute rocket. And probably why you wouldn't want to rock it on 3S, because it might, well, I mean, you wouldn't want to fly it on 3S because 10,000 kV is getting pretty hardcore, and pushing that up by 3S is going to mean that might be putting a bit much stress on these motors. Now, if we move towards the inside, I know you can't really see it here. I'm just going to have to tell you what's in here, so you might be able to see it underneath. But you've got a little 4-in-1 10 amp ESC that is rocking D-Shot. You've got a little VTX, actually, which I'm going to point out, the little VTX button to change it is right here. And that's set up a bit like the Unify Pro, so you need to push it, count the flashes, and then, you know, sort of hold it, count the flashes again. So a little bit annoying to find the right channel that you're on. I found that took me a little bit. You connect up your USB port right here, so it is rocking a F3 flight controller, rocking Betaflight. By binding this thing was super easy. All I had to do was plug it in, and then I think some little lights should start going off if you don't have a radio on. Some little lights started going off. It does have some LEDs in the bottom, I should say. And once those little lights went off, all I had to do was put my Tyrannus into bind mode. Beep! It was bound straight away, and then you're ready to rock and roll. So overall, a really cool, nice little package. I love that they come in some different colors, because that's going to allow me to do a little bit of racing. So what we're going to do now, let's cut down to the field. I guess there's no way to mount no HD footage or anything like that. We're going to show you some DVR. But let's cut down to the field, race Grumpy Trev around, and I guess have some fun with these elves. All right, let's do it. Rightio, down here in the field, about to rip around with the little DYS ELF, and we've actually decided for this one, we're going to show you some DVR footage. We're going to chop and change between Grumpy Trev and myself, because we've got one each. We've each bound it to my Tyrannus. I'm on the QX7, Trev's on the old, show him your Tyrannus. Look at that. Anyway, we've bound him up to our Tyrannus, so we're going to put it down, and I guess we're going to have a bit of a race.
Mine's Red's. Everyone knows Red's faster.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ready, armed. 1, 2, 3, go.
Alrighty, off with the world's most exciting race. And one thing I want to point out, the problem with racing Trev is a bloody cheat. The whole time he was sort of crashing into each other. It was pretty fun actually racing him around. Now obviously these things aren't designed for maximum speed, and they're really just made, look, the DVR is probably going to cut all over the place because we did have a few crashes, you can see by all the grass right there. But they're not made for maximum speed or anything like that. I definitely think these aren't really even suited to an outdoor sort of course unless it was dead still, because they do get pushed around by the wind. But they have some nice bright colours. I was pretty impressed with the FPV feed, even though I don't really like all that OSD junk that's all over the screen. I pretty much just want the voltage and absolutely destroy the batteries here, and also a timer. That would be handy. Now you can see Grumpy Trev running in the background. He's crashed his. I think we're racing to 3 laps, and that probably serves him right because I know he was skipping some gates and purposely trying to take down my quad. Now, I've never seen Grumpy... Drop a comment for Grumpy Trev's great sprint running back to his starting line just there. I think we're going to 3 laps. But overall, look, I had a lot of fun. These little like 3-inch gates definitely helped, or these little micro sort of gates definitely help, and I'll leave a link in the video somewhere in the description if you want to see my review on those, because I think you need some obstacles when you're flying something around this small. Otherwise, if you had this in an open field, it would be pretty boring. But what did make it fun was these little obstacles, and obviously having someone to race against was a lot of fun, even if Grumpy Trev was cheating just a little bit. Now you can do a little bit of acro, and I guess we're starting off pretty slow here, just trying to get those laps down. It definitely didn't feel as powerful as a Lizard or anything like that, and he's only rocking 2S, and it is a little bit heavier than some of the other ones out there because you do have those ducks. But it didn't feel bad. It definitely still felt heaps better than some of my other micros, and probably my favorite part is just how easy it binds up to the Tyrannus. So that was it. Oh, hitting that gate there, bounce around. Oh, there you can see a little bit of acro. I think I punch it a little bit more as well. But yeah, look, they fly well, good fun, and I think if you get a bunch of them, you could, you know, around an office or something like that, trying to do a little bit of acro. If you could do something like a race around an office, you could definitely have a lot of laughs, because I know, look, we didn't need all the speed in the world. This was a really fun time I had racing against Trevor. I smashed that gate right there, and the funny part at the end, Trevor thought he'd give up on finishing his laps and just decided to repeatedly crash his quad into me, which kept scaring the life out of me. So thanks very much, cheating Grumpy Trev. Yeah, but overall, look, a fun little quad, and if you can pick one up on the cheap, I think it's definitely something you guys should look at. Alrighty, so there it is. There's my review of the DYS ELF. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. A little bit different, I guess, trying to put that little race in there, having a bit of fun, because that's what these are about. They're not made to be serious races, and I don't think they're really made for outdoors or anything like that. But I would say if you can pick these up cheaply and you want something that combined to a good radio like the Tyrannus, definitely you know, consider looking at these. I think where these would be the most fun is if in some of those little office stalls, how I imagine like all the office in the Hollywood movies, all those sort of boring office places, somewhere to race these around, getting a whole bunch together, that would be a ton of fun. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying. Oh, and one little point to note out too, some of the different versions had different props, so depending on what color you could either get, I think that was a 3 or the 4 blade, or the 5 blade. So we tested out the 5 blade, but I do wonder, would that make a difference flying around with some of those other props? Anyway, happy flying. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAVfutures family, there's things like bonus velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.